Committee recognizes Frank Fisk regarding a budget expansion related to aquatic nuisance species.
Yes, TWA staff have prepared a aquatic nuisance species plan that was approved by the Fish and Wildlife Service several years ago. And because we have this document, we're eligible for federal funds to combat nuisance species in Tennessee. And I don't know how big the overall pie is, but each year we get around $20-some thousand towards our efforts. And these are all federal dollars, and they're matched by the efforts that we have on the ground and manpower of state dollars so that we can spend the money. The total amount is $25,315, and that's going into our budget 7308.
Thank you, Frank. So I understand that our quote-unquote match is staff hours. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Please.
I wanted to also mention that what we do with this money is we use it for public information about nuisance species to prevent their spread, and also monitoring, and eventually we're going to get into research and eradication. Hopefully we're building inertia and as we learn and go.
Thank you, Frank. Committee members, you've heard the request for a budget expansion of $25,315. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion within the committee? I'm going to hold on public discussion because we'll have that opportunity in just a second, if that's all right. With no other discussion, all in favor of the budget expansion for $25,315 for aquatic nuisance species, say aye. Any opposed? At the chairman's request, we're going to go through the next two budget expansions, then we'll present that to the committee as a whole in one package. The committee recognizes Darren Ryer, Chief of Boating and Law Enforcement. He has a budget expansion of $19,800. Chief?
Thank you, Commissioner Cannon. Yes, this budget expansion is for $19,800. I was made to round up. I don't know how Frank got by with $315. Anyways, these are remaining dollars that come from the Hunter Ed Section 10 money, which the Hunter Ed Section 10 money is earmarked for enhancement. When we received our apportionment, our remaining dollars, there was $19,800 there, and we want to budget that for the Tennessee Wildlife Foundations to their new Scholastic Action Shooting Program, which is SASP. These are all 100% federal dollars through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that are obligated. The money is not currently in our budget, therefore this is a request for the 19.8 for the Scholastic Action Shooting Program. And the program managers here in the audience, Lacey Lane, that if you have any questions about the program, we can get her there, get her up here to the mic if any of the commissioners want any bullet points on that program.
She wouldn't mind standing just so we can acknowledge her, and thank you for being here. We greatly appreciate it, ma'am.
This was the old pistol program, and then they migrated. Now they're shooting pistols and rifles. It's a timed course. Everybody's got to shoot the same pistol. Everybody's got to shoot the same rifle. There are kits available now for standardization. It's kind of going to mirror the NASP program, if you will. And so Lacey's now the manager of that program. They've sent her off to be trained so she can come back and certify instructors to start getting these into our schools.
Thank you for what you're doing. When it comes to the kids, this is exciting stuff here for us. Do I have a motion to approve the budget expansion as presented? Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cox?
This, Darren, this doesn't compete with the SCTP shooting. Okay.
No, sir. This is a whole different program.
Okay.
Committee, is there any other questions related to this? Hearing none, all in favor of this budget expansion for $19,800 for the Scholastic Action Shooting Sports, say aye. Any opposed? Darren, thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Committee recognizes Bill Reeves, Chief of Biodiversity, for a budget expansion of $26,000.
This 26,000 is for monitoring bats in the wintertime to do a couple things, to determine the incidence of white nose syndrome and to count numbers of bats in the caves to determine what kind of mortality rate we might be having from white nose syndrome. It's 100% federal money that requires no match, and our staff uses it to do that monitoring in the wintertime across the state, caves across the state.
Bill, thank you so much. When you said 100% other money and the bats, Commissioner Cox immediately hit his button. So I'm going to assume, is there a motion to approve this expansion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the $26,000 for the snot-nosed bat program.
Don't be funny now.
Do I have a second on the bat motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion within the committee? Hearing none, all in favor of this budget expansion say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman, the Budget Committee has just taken action on the 3 budget expansion items that you just heard, and we make motion for approval of all 3.
Motion's been made on 3 budget expansions, one for $25,315 for aquatic nuisance species, $19,800 for the Foundation Scholastic Action Shooting Sports, and $26,000 for the white-nosed bat syndrome. Do I hear a second? Motion been made and seconded by Chairman Ripley. Any more discussion from the commission?
Chairman Bledsoe.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to publicly thank Lacey for the job that she does with those kids and shooting sports. She's done a wonderful job up in Carroll County. I just want her to know I really appreciate it. My son was thoroughly impressed, and I'm so thankful you got him wanting to shoot that most expensive sport that I've ever been involved with. I thought travel baseball was expensive, but I was totally wrong. So anyway, but seriously, thank you for the job you do with those kids. Kids travel from all around to go up there. Hear nothing but good things about you and the program up there. So just a note of thanks.
I'd like to say that too, Lacey. I've known Lacey a long time, hunted with her, and got the opportunity to shoot that at a ladies' event that they sponsored for us down there, and it was so much fun. I can see why the kids want to do it. Thank you, too. I think she's done an awesome job.
All right, any more discussion from the commission? Any discussion from the audience on these 3 budget expansions? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The 3 budget expansions carries. Chairman Cannon.
Committee recognizes Ken Tarkington, Chief of Administrative Services, for our monthly financial report. Ken, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll try not to hit the mic. I'll go ahead and hit it anyway. There is a 2-page report.
Everybody else has. You just had to join the club.
There's a 2-page report, financial report in your books. Before I get into that, as an addendum to Barry's presentation this morning on investments, I received an email from our representative in the Treasury. As you recall, the commission approved investing the endowments full strength in through the Treasury, and the Treasury did that over several days, and they've purchased securities, they've purchased mortgages. The securities settled yesterday. The mortgages will settle sometime next week. So we're on the way to earning more interest or earning more income through those investments. In any event, the 2-page financial reports in your book. At the top of the first page is the boating fund. I'm reporting through August of this year. Our revenues are down 21% in relation to where they were last year. And the expenses through the second month of the year are approximately 16% of the annual allotment. The wildlife fund in the middle of the page, we're approximately 3.6% above our projection. And as you recall, we had a fee increase in July. A lot of folks bought their licenses early at the older rate, so we may not really get a good representation of a full year at the new rates until next year because of that reason. On the expense side, we're at 8.7% of the annual allotment. And at the bottom of the page, the two endowment funds are identified. One's the watchable. We've got a $6 million balance with approximately $1,300 that we can transfer for those approved projects to the reimburse the wildlife fund. The lifetime sportsman account, we have approximately $42,800,000. On the second page, the wetlands acquisition fund has a little over $15 million in it. We've zeroed the maintenance fund out as we usually do. And the compensation, or in lieu of tax, as you recall, I mentioned that last month that we had to set up an accrual for last year. So we physically paid out those in lieu of tax payments in the month of August. So we have a balance of, and the amount we paid out was $378,000 for those properties that we own. The balance is $446,000. Any questions or comments?
Committee, commissioners, any questions? Questions from the audience? Ken, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Chairman Cannon. At this time, is there anything else from staff? They don't even turn your mic on, Bobby. Come on, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Bledsoe. In addition to the acknowledgement that we have for Commissioner Watson for all the wonderful things that he did for the meeting, I'd also like to recognize Region 3 and John Mayer and all the guys and girls that helped and had the displays and enforcement and the carrying people around and things like that. So that's it.
Thank you, Bobby. Anything else from staff? Anything from the commission? And again, I'd really like to say I appreciate Commissioner Watson for all of his hospitality and you've done well. Commissioner Cox?
I was in the one of the Shelby County clerk's offices renewing a couple of truck tags, and a gentleman came in looking for a boat registration, and the people in there kind of sort of didn't know. They didn't know where to send him, and I told him what he needed to do. But I wonder if we might. Yeah, I don't know whether they would cooperate or not, but every county's got multiples. They might put up a poster or something for boat registrations, just informational literature that people could reference to renew their boats. I don't know how often that happens, but I just happened to be in there that morning when he came in and didn't know who to contact.
I see Darren writing that down, so I mean it's something we can do and direct them to a point of sale or our website or whatever, just a little sticker to go out to those or something. So, anything else from the commission? Is there anything from the audience to be brought before the commission? Hearing nothing else, our next commission meeting is Friday, December the 11th in Nashville. And if all hearts and minds are clear, we stand adjourned till then.